The high rate of investment risks in the Nigerian financial system is receiving attention among theorists and bankers. At an engagement of the professionals, the immediate past president of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, Professor Ajibola, made some recommendations around enterprise risk management for improved performance. Let's take a listen.
Dabari and Siding, 2015, found in their work that enterprise risk management practices revolve around risks considered so critical to performance. But unfortunately, poor knowledge of the concept by board members in particular, lack of professionals, poor infrastructure, poor training and education, weak framework, and lack of will to implement constitute obstacles to enterprise risk management practices among Nigerian banks. What have been the lessons from other climes? The Canadian banks, for example, through the Capco Institute of 2015, tipped Canada as a client with well-entrenched risk management culture, using credit risk officers that report directly to the chief executive officers. American banks, having gone through the 2007-2008 crisis, now became wiser. And as of today, risk management practices have been deepened in the United States. We gathered data from annual reports and financial statements of 11 deposit money banks in Nigeria, comprising of all the 3 tiers banks for the period 2006 to 2016. We adopted return on assets and return on equity as our dependent variables, depending on loan loss provision, provision for actual bad loans in the P&L, the state of the liquidity ratio, equity to total assets, equity to liquidity, equity to loan and advances, and debt equity ratio as our dependent variables. Adopting both Houseman test and random effect, and making use of Starter 12, 2018, research compilation, we found strong and significant relationship between return on assets and return on equity and independent variables mentioned above. Ladies and gentlemen, our test took into consideration the various limitations that could be imposed. Accordingly, we subjected this analysis to the required econometric tools of analysis, using both the panel data and, of course, the strong OLS as a tool of analysis. We discovered from our findings a strong relationship between enterprise risk management practices that improve the quality and quantum, as the case may be, of the loan loss provision, liquidity ratio, equity to total assets, equity to loan and advances, and that all these reflect in the quality and quantity of return on assets and return on equity for banks. In other words, our findings allude to the fact that the only way to ensure sustainable quality performance by our banks is to look and target the key variables that drive overall performance in the respective banks and even financial institutions. In other words, profitability as an end result is good, but profitability cannot be sustained unless those variables that give the quality profitability over a period of time are well managed by the institution of sound enterprise risk management practices. The risk management practices must be such that will enable quality risk assets in a bank. It should be the one that will sustain good and explainable liquidity ratios and the liquidity position of banks at all times. Is such that will enable the introduction of information technology to manage data and management information system generally. The kind of tools that we need in our banks today are such that will enable proactive management of even human resources so that people's risk will be minimized. The kind of approach we need in our banks today is one that will ensure that even when we are taking sovereign risks, they are guarded risks. Risk cannot be taken on behalf of a sovereign nation when the risks become unguarded or when the risk turns to an element of gambling. Banks cannot play the role of the government so long banks remain profit-making institutions. So if we are talking about ERM practices in our banks today, from all these studies, one thing comes out clearly. Manage things that determine profitability. Otherwise, profit could come as a spurious figure from an unmanaged system. What therefore are our recommendations? Ladies and gentlemen, the number one recommendation is that Nigerian banks should, as a matter of urgency, review their enterprise risk management template for full migration to ERM practices as seen in Canada, Switzerland, and at the moment, United States of America. Number two, the board and management of our banks should show total commitment to enterprise risk management, ISO 31000. It's been proven that however robust enterprise risk management template may be, if the board fails to show commitment, if there is lack of will on the part of the board and the executive management, it is a waste of time. Risk management practices, not for the boys. Number three, it is recommended that enterprise risk management as a template should also be deployed to other financial institutions in our system. Microfinance banks, mortgage banks, all these banks should in earnest commence full integration into enterprise risk management. That is still substantially lacking in our country today. And we discovered that all these institutions are purveyors of credit. And the risk they are exposed to could be as serious as those of deposit money banks, and failure to take proactive measures to manage these risks may spell doom for the entire system. It is high time other financial institutions started managing or migrating fully into full enterprise risk management framework. Number 4, regulatory institutions should not only ensure that banks and other financial institutions fully adopt enterprise risk management framework, they should also provide all the needed encouragement and support for full adherence to enterprise risk management practices.